On your Monday episode of Locked On Raptors, while it will not ease the sting of the worst loss in the history of Toronto sports, it was pretty nice to see the Toronto Raptors have a get-right weekend.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Monday, November the 3rd, and I am your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Toronto Raptors now for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram, and you can join us in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. Link in the description of the podcast. 100% free to join to become part of our listener family. We'd love to see you in there talking hoop. It's a great time. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And we're off and running here on a Monday edition of Locked On Raptors, where, look, the Toronto Raptors are not what most Toronto sports fans are thinking about today. Yes, still licking the wounds from that just utterly heartbreaking Game 7 loss for the Blue Jays in the World Series, but the Toronto Raptors did at least give us a bit of hope, optimism, or at least didn't double down on the negative feelings coming out of this weekend, as they picked up 2 wins over the weekend. The Cavaliers and the Grizzlies both dealing with injuries and or suspensions of star players. In the case of the Grizzlies, it was basically a skeleton crew outside of Evan Mobley for the Cavaliers on Friday. But you know what, man? There's something to just taking care of business when there is business to be taken care of, and the Toronto Raptors very much did that. They moved to 3-4 on the season, which is a lot more pleasant than 1-4 or the potential 1-5 that looked like it was maybe brewing in the middle of the third quarter against the Cavaliers on Friday. They pulled it out. They figured it out. They ended up pulling away nicely at the end, thanks to some beautiful Brandon Ingram crunch time and Jamison Battle going 6 of 6 from downtown. You know, a lot of there's still stuff to iron out. There's no doubt about it. But there were certainly some more positives from these last couple of games that I think you can build on if you're the Raptors. And there's honestly just like a psychological effect, I think, to winning a basketball game when you haven't for, almost a couple of weeks, right? Like you had the game against the Hawks. It was all nice and beautiful. And after that, it was just kind of loss after loss after loss, a little bit more deflating each time. And to get those wins against Cleveland and Memphis, as depleted as they were, look, this is not something the Raptors have done that much over the last couple of seasons when they've been bad. You lose 50-plus games because you can't take care of business against the teams you should take care of business against. It's very often how that happens. And the best teams do take care of business when they are clearly the superior team or they have an advantage in schedule or health or whatever, and the Raptors did that. And we'll get into today, the continued struggles of Emmanuel Quickley, of course. He continues to be one of the sort of big ticket talking points on the negative side of things for the Raptors. We got the good, the bad, and the coming up later on. But I do want to talk a little just about the beautiful security blanket that Brandon Ingram is. Yes, like he wasn't the only guy who did good stuff for the Raptors on Friday night as they pulled out the Cavs win. He wasn't the only guy who contributed to the win over the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday. But I do feel like watching Brandon Ingram play has just been such a salve. It's been so calming to know that, hey, there's always a good shot to be found when he is on the floor. Even when it's a bad shot, it's a good shot because he's damn good at knocking down those mid-rangers that, just like the very best guys in the league make part of their repertoire. He's been really fun to watch. And I think just kind of seeing the way the offense kind of orbits around him now and the way other guys are filling in, I think like we're just seeing a pretty harmonious setup for the Raptors defensively right now. Offensively, I mean. They have been a pretty good offense so far. Through 7 games, they're number 9 in the league in offensive rating. That is very encouraging. Their half-court offense, I believe, is 11th right now per clean the glass. That's really encouraging considering, we thought this was probably going to be a team that would take some time to figure things out on offense, and they haven't figured everything out yet. Emmanuel Quickley, as we'll talk about, still very much not playing his best basketball. No Jakob Poeltl. It's made things pretty helter-skelter on the glass, and they've not been able to sort of buoy their totals by grabbing offensive rebounds. They've just been a damn effective offense that's scoring on the first shot a whole bunch. They have the 7th best effective field goal percentage in the NBA. They're shooting really well from deep. I believe 6th best in the league in terms of 3-point percentage. And really it's Brandon Ingram and then Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett working off of Brandon Ingram that are providing a lot of that offensive efficiency. Ingram's 64.1% true shooting so far this year. RJ's even better than that. Barnes is around 60%. And look, it's not been perfect how those three work off of one another. The numbers are actually quite grim when those three guys share the floor together, but I do think we're starting to see some encouraging little flourishes here and there. There was some moments in that game against the Cavaliers where they got it together. The first quarter in particular, I thought there was some really nice sequences of, Barnes sets a screen for Ingram on the wing, gets into a pick and roll. Two guys go Ingram's way. He threads the pass through to Scotty on the short roll. He sees help. He kicks it over to the wing. RJ Barrett bangs a three. A couple other really nice sequences of them, each leveraging the attention that they draw into good shots for each other. And I do think, we saw some of the groundwork being laid for those three guys in particular. Ideally, quickly comes along with them of, sort of turning around the negative on-off train that they have been just like barreling full force with throughout the start of the season. They've got to iron it out. So far, when you have RJ, Scotty, and Ingram on the floor together, a minus 16.6 net rating in 260 possessions, that is not great. And they've been on the floor with IQ for most of that time. And maybe IQ is the biggest reason why they're hemorrhaging. It's hard to say. The offense with those three guys together has not been good. But when you get into the mixes where there's two of them on the floor, they've been really effective. Just Ingram and Scotty, plus 44.1 in 20 possessions. RJ plus Scotty, no Ingram, plus 26.1 in 65 possessions. Just RJ plus Ingram, plus 10.3 in 36 possessions. All teensy tiny samples, of course, but you're starting to see those guys each kind of figure things out. And again, in the game against Memphis, I thought there were some really long stretches where the starters looked pretty good. Started the second half where they really kind of pulled away in the first few minutes of the third quarter. And then crunch time when they locked it down, I thought, hey, like this is this starting five figuring out one another and how to, produce good offense when they're all on the floor and not just kind of doing the in-between lineups thing, which is great. Like, not a problem that they're really winning the minutes when they have just two of those guys on the floor at any given time. But to be able to do it all together, I mean, that's where they're going to hit their peak, right? And having Jakob Poeltl back will surely help with that, one would think. Though Colin Murray-Boyles, as we'll talk about later, has been really helping to fill in the gaps. But I think with RJ, Scotty, and Ingram in particular, like Ingram is obviously the dude who's going to go and get the buckets when you need him, right? I think we saw some really great sequences of over the weekend of him just kind of like backing a dude down, getting to his shot, and just kind of there's nothing you can do about it when he's getting that look off. Drew a couple fouls in his sort of DeMar DeRozan-y way against the Grizzlies as well. I love the way he just sort of slithers into deep position in the paint. He had that one sequence against the Grizzlies. I think there were back-to-back buckets, actually, where his peak slitheriness was on display, where he kind of drives, he gets mauled by three dudes, and he just kind of ends up like flipping it up over his head into the bucket right under the rim as he kept control. And then the next time down, he comes in and has a nice, beautiful swooping lefty finish through traffic. Like Ingram in traffic's been a lot of fun. And all three of those guys, again, I think, the whole argument for why Ingram helps everyone eat with this offense is it just like takes the burden off of everyone's shoulders. There was so much being carried last year by Scotty Barnes, by RJ Barrett, and that's not the case this year. All three of Scotty, RJ, and Ingram have, if not the lowest usage of their careers, then the lowest they've had in quite some time. Ingram's just at 26%. Scotty's at 24.9. RJ Barrett's at 22% usage after being up at like above 26% last year. You bring all the usage down, you just kind of streamline the roles, and you get a lot better, more effective offense out of it. Scotty Barnes, I think, has been awesome, just kind of being a rim guy, and obviously the threes are falling for him incredibly right now, but we saw in that game last night against Memphis in crunch time after Memphis kind of got a little bit close in the first half of the fourth quarter, you bring in the starters and, quickly Scotty pick and roll turns into a couple of buckets, and then it turns into Scotty kicking out off of a roll to a guy I think it was Ingram got a three out of it at one point. It just kind of all looks harmonious between those three guys because no one's being overtaxed. No one has too many possessions. No one's playing iso ball and just kind of, pounding the ball through entire possessions. There's some connectivity there growing. And yeah, the numbers so far are ugly. I don't think they're going to stay this ugly forever. And I think we saw some pretty encouraging signs that they are going to get themselves fixed. And yeah, just like nice to see a weekend where, yeah, it's not against great opponents by any means, teams that are just kind of flailing with injuries, suspensions, etc. But I think, you got to start somewhere. And to just kind of salvage the record early on and keep it from spiraling out to a 1-5, 1-6, such a huge deal psychologically, such a huge deal for just like the math of not falling too far behind in the race. They're like square in a play-in spot right now. Yes, just 7 games in. Don't look at the standings 7 games in, but The psychological difference of being 3-4 versus 1-6 or 2-5 today is a pretty big deal. And I think, they've got to build on it now. They got a road trip coming up. They got the Bucks again as they try to get some redemption for a game that I think was very winnable for them a couple weeks ago or 10 days ago, whenever it was. Hopefully they can do that. But yeah, it's nice to see at least Ingram, Scotty, RJ, the three of those guys being hyper efficient with one another. Eventually, it's all going to come together, and that lineup is going to be a positive at some point. The defense is hemorrhaging. The offense still isn't producing very well in the grand scheme of things. But if those three guys are going to maintain their level of efficiency, or at least something close to it, maybe it's not going to be north of 65 for RJ Barrett all season long. That would be pretty amazing. But I do think there is a world here where those guys, just by being as good as they are, by teams having to sell out as much as they have to stop those guys, and then that leading to good stuff for others, by quickly hopefully coming along and joining the party at some point. I think there were some encouraging signs this weekend as, again, the Raptors got right after things were looking a little bit hairy just a few days ago. We'll come back on the other side, talk about a guy who is yet to get right, who's Emmanuel Quickley, who had a rough weekend, didn't play a ton in that game against the Cavs, had a lot of his minutes handed over to Jamal Shed. Played more last night, had a nice finish, but still not quite where you need him to be. We'll talk about quickly his struggles and how he's just sort of caught between worlds right now. We'll do that coming up in just 1 second. Today's show is brought to you by Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all in one place. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's show is also brought to you by friends over at Game Time. Basketball season is rolling. The NBA is here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That is where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets, easy and stress-free. Look, I am a regular Game Time user. I've used it for baseball tickets. I've used it for WNBA tickets in other cities. I've used it for all kinds of things, concerts, comedy shows, you name it. And I swear by it. I love it. It is just the easiest way to find the best seats. They have a little feature where they just show this little flame on it. Like, hey, this is the best deal. Buy this one, instead of just sort of perusing around for the best deals and trying to guess what is the best one. They tell you the best deals right off the hop. It's a lovely thing. They've got zone deals. They're a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your tickets, and you save big. And you can even find NBA tickets for under $25. That's a huge deal. The Raptors are back and running. They'll be on the road very soon, but they'll be back later in the month, November. Lots of home games through November, December. I think they have a homestand over the Christmas break, so maybe you're looking for a gift for somebody. You can go do it over at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Back at it here on your Monday edition of Locked On Raptors, talking about a 2-0 weekend for your local basketball team. That's very exciting, ain't it? And yeah, we're going to talk about a guy who is not exactly living up to the standard so far this year. A guy who I have been a staunch believer in on this podcast from back before the Toronto Raptors traded for him. It's just not going so hot right now for Emmanuel Quickley. And it is, I don't think it's quite at panic mode just yet. I still think there's plenty of time for this thing to iron out, but just 13 points a game, 6 assists, 4 boards, 39% from the field, 28% from three. It's not what you want if you're Emmanuel Quickley to start the season. And the Raptors need more from him if they're going to achieve their ceiling this season. There's no doubt about it. He still is the best guy at doing guard things on the basketball team. And maybe that's damning with faint praise, but he is like extremely necessary if the Raptors are going to do what they're hoping to do this season. And the way he's played so far this year, there have been moments, I think the offensive struggles have been a little bit overstated before these last couple of games, where I think they're very much clear in your face. He's just not doing what you need him to do. Defensively, it's been a real adventure. Point of attack defense has been a super huge struggle for him. he's always good in rotation, good at contesting shots, recovering time. And I think, to the idea of the Raptors getting right, I do think there was some element in the last game of they got their defense right a little bit too. They kind of found the connection. They found the rotations. They were filling in the right spaces when they needed to be more on a string. That was good to see as well. Focus a lot on the offense there, but the defense I thought was much better as well. Again, against two teams that didn't have a whole lot in the way of ball handling, but you got to play who you got to play. You got to play who the schedule gives you. But quickly, for him to struggle so much against both these teams, certainly not the greatest thing in the world. And I do think he's very much caught in between worlds right now. Like, they need his ball handling, they need his paint pressure, they need his driving kick game, but he's also probably a little bit overextended doing it. And you couple that with just, he hasn't found the off-ball stuff just yet. They're not finding him off the ball. He hasn't been able to kind of do the jitterbug away from the ball thing to really kind of get himself open for looks. And when he has, I think he's been a little too reticent to shoot. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 times against the Grizzlies alone where the ball swings too quickly. And in theory, that should be an easy catch and shoot look, but he's almost in his head because he's missing the shots right now. And so it's a lot of like catch, pump, drive, and nothing really comes of it. I think he's forcing or trying to foul bait a little bit too much as well. Like, I love that he can draw fouls pretty regularly when he gets to that sort of 8-10 foot range. He seems to have it down as a bit of an art for how to draw fouls when he's trying to get to the floater, but that can't be your only source of offense. You've got to actually like look to get looks up too. And that's been trouble in it. We've talked a lot about him playing too fast, about him not being able to find a change of pace or switch gears. Darko Rajakovic even talked about that last night post-game about in transition, he's just kind of going at 100 miles an hour right now, and it's just not really, doing all that much. He's just trying way too hard at times. And yeah, the results are pretty ugly. And like, there's also the element of he's not hunting the pull-up three and pick and roll enough either, right? Like, that's a really big part of his game. That's what makes him and what makes most lead guards effective is you have a pull-up three-point shot that kind of pulls apart the defense like it's a stuffed crust pizza, and he's just not able to do that right now. And he's, and look, I think a lot of this will iron itself out. Darko Rajakovic, he wasn't wrong when he said after the game last night that missing Jakob Poeltl is a big reason for why Quickly's struggling right now. It's true. Like, Jakob Poeltl is a really important player for optimizing Quickly. He's his best, most easy pick and roll partner. They have good chemistry there. Poeltl wasn't hitting his little floaters, earlier in the season as well, which kind of hurt the overall effectiveness, the points per possession in those Quickly led pick and rolls. And look, Poeltl is just the best screener on the team as well. He is the guy who most makes it possible for Quickly to get to that pull-up three. I think I've maybe seen like 1 or 2 pull-up threes in a pick and roll from Quickly all season long. That's not enough. He's got to do that more. That's got to be the sort of head of the snake when he has the ball in his hands. It's the thing he does the best. He's an excellent pull-up three-point shooter throughout his career, high 30s, low 40s. Like, he's a very, very good shooter in those situations. He just hasn't gotten to that shot nearly enough. And maybe it gets better when Poeltl's back. Maybe it's just a matter of intentionality and him trying to hunt that shot more instead of just kind of playing with such a, again, the balance. He just hasn't found the balance between playing with downhill energy, trying to get into the paint versus using his shot as a weapon. And I still think it's going to come along. Did I expect that of all the guys in the Raptors starting 5, the chemistry was going to come the slowest for Quickly playing with all these other guys? I did not. I thought he was going to be the easiest guy. You plug him in and yeah, maybe the wing guys figure out where they need their spots and where it all works. But I think all those guys have showed a lot of give. You've seen, I think, Barnes change his shot diet and where he's looking for shots to affect and sort of resemble the sort of mirror image of where Ingram wants to work. Obviously, the fact they're both hitting their threes right now is very helpful. I think RJ has done a great job filling in the gaps. RJ is like a roll man has been a thing where he's like setting screens, diving, getting it on the cut. Like, that's awesome. That's beautiful to see. Quickly is yet to find those little pockets within the flow of play with all of these guys where he can really affect things. And again, I believe it's going to come. He's a very, very good three-point shooter. He's having his worst season by like every metric by a mile so far this year. Worst he's ever been when it comes to, points per shot attempt, 3-point percentage, floater range accuracy, all of it. Like, he's simply not this bad. There's no way that in his age 26 season, in a context that in theory should be suited to him, finding success, that he's going to play this badly all season long. If he does, it's a disaster. There's no doubt about it, but he's certainly better than this. He can improve the process, certainly. Like, he can help himself out here. He can help himself out by just like being intent upon getting up as many threes as possible on a given night, looking for those little windows to get the pull up off, even if it's going to get blocked once in a while because there's not that perfect window of space because Jakob Poeltl's not setting a massive screen on somebody. Like, he's just got to make it a threat. He's got to have defenses thinking about it. And, I do think that like the pick and roll passing and stuff, like, it's there, right? Like, yes, he can force passes sometimes and fails to thread them through, but like, he's got a very good assist to turnover ratio historically this season as well. We saw in crunch time against the Grizzlies last night, the way he's able to find Scotty Barnes in those 2-man actions. Like, that's something they should try to spam a little bit more often. Like, it's not like he's forgotten how to play basketball. He's playing basketball very poorly right now. And if this persists, I mean, it's going to bring a whole lot of other questions, right? This season was all about clarifying the next steps in this Raptors team build. And if IQ is going to play like this all year, and RJ is going to continue to kind of defy what my expectations were and be this effective playing next to Ingram and Barnes, then it becomes pretty clear who the piece is going to be that the Raptors are looking to upgrade upon going forward. And yeah, it might be hard to find, someone who wants to take on Quickly's contract. I think if you're looking at an upgrade trade, it's probably more of Quickly's the salary ballast, and then you throw in all the extra picks you have. You have all your picks and swaps going forward. You have young guys on the roster. Those we'll talk about coming up. Not all of them exactly showing out at the moment. But like, you have stuff. You have the sort of makings of a base trade offer for an upgrade at the position. And that might be the way this goes. If Quickly plays like this all season long, and hey, even if he improves and plays better, he might just be the guy they deem is, we got to find ourselves a true lead guard. We're going to turn Quickly's salary plus our stuff into one. And that's the way they go about things. At this point, I would bet on that being the way they go with it. But Quickly's got to, in the meantime, while he's still on the team, play better. And he's got to improve the process. He's got to find that balance of on and off ball effectiveness. He's got to find the change of pace and the varied speeds and transition. And when he's working in the half court, I refuse to believe he's just like forgotten how to play basketball. And even if you weren't like a huge fan of Quickly's game before this season, there's no doubt about it. Like, he has set a much higher baseline standard for his play than he's shown off this year. I think he's going to find it again. But if he doesn't, yeah, this becomes a really difficult thing. And look, I love Jamal Shed. I'm glad Jamal Shed's getting run. He's one of the guys I trust most off the bench right now. But I think if you were to ask Jamal Shed to be a full-time starter to replace Quickly, if you wanted to go that drastic, I just don't think you're getting the same shooting juice, the shooting gravity, the pull-up ability. Yeah, he's shooting well from 3 on catch and shoots right now, but they're mostly pretty wide open, and it's a tiny sample, and he's never been a terribly good shooter throughout his entire career, college and pros. And so, like, I just don't think Shed is the one you're going to, like, happily turn over the starting job to. You will be looking for outside help, I think, if it comes to it. But for now, like, he's on the team. Quickly is. You got to get more out of it. He's got to improve the process. Eventually, the threes are going to fall at a higher clip. There's no way they're not. He's never been this poor a shooter for a sustained stretch. He's always been in the mid to high 30s. He's going to get back there. But in the meantime, yeah, it's like it's an extra struggle. And it's the reason why I think the starters lineups have been so, the starter heavy lineups have been so rough, is just like you have this kind of weird in-between play from Quickly that's not tying anything together the way a guard is supposed to. And so, yeah, he's got to be better. If he's not, then things get real interesting and maybe pretty grim if, things really continue to kind of spiral at this pace. But I'm convinced he's better than this. Again, I thought there were some pretty nice signs of life playmaking-wise late in the game against the Grizzlies. Maybe he can build upon that. We'll see. But, you hope he doesn't get cooked by Ryan Rollins again, like he did in the last game against Milwaukee on Tuesday night. That'll be tough. But yeah, he's got to be better. He just does. There's no doubt about it. We'll come back to the other side. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the to round out the show. Thing I liked, thing I didn't like, thing that's got me a little intrigued from the weekend that was. We'll do that coming up in just 1 second. Today's show is brought to you by Rougiette. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support, and that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rougiette makes it easy to get started as well. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online, no awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. Visit Rougiette.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know that we sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves. Today's show is also brought to you by a new sponsor, and it's a local one. It's Doer, baby. I am a person who wears jeans. I wear skinny jeans because I'm just waiting for them to become cool again. As you know, these things are cyclical, and Doer is a wonderful way for me to wear my jeans as I want to wear them, and they have all kinds of lovely products for you to go peruse. They're sending me some. I'm really excited. I can't wait for them to come in the mail. I'm someone who also has dealt with gaining the new father 15 this summer and getting some fresh jeans in the door. Going to be very exciting for me. And they have lots of incredible features that I am very excited to take advantage of. They have 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. Also, they're stretchy without looking stretchy. That's a big deal. They don't just get all loose and sort of, again, I like my skinny jeans. They're going to stay skinny while still being stretchy. It's the best of both worlds. They're made with Cool Max, which regulates your body temperature and wicks moisture. That's a big deal as well. Keeps you cool and comfortable as temperatures change. Simply put, Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice style. And you can check out Doer in their new store here in Toronto. It's at 44 Ossington Avenue, my old stomping grounds when I lived in Toronto. Go check it out. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Mention my promo code LOCKEDONTORONTO in store and get 15% off your first order as well. Or check them out online at Doer, DUER.ca/LockedOnToronto for 15% off. That's Doer.ca/LockedOnToronto. Go get yourself some pants. Wrapping things up here on your, what day is it? Monday episode of Locked On Raptors. I'm still in a malaise. It's the clocks went back. The Blue Jays lost. It's the seasonal affective season. What are days anyway? They're all the same gray mess, aren't they? I'm fine. Don't worry. I'm good. Let's get to the good, the bad, and the shall we? We wrap up every single episode of this podcast on the heels of a Toronto Raptors basketball game. A thing I liked, a thing I didn't like, a thing that's got me a little bit intrigued from the latest in Toronto Raptors hoops. The good for me, how can it not be Colin Murray-Boyles again? Just the stock pot, doing the thing. 3 steals for him in the game on Sunday against the Grizzlies to go along with 15 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, killing it from 2-point range. Misses 3s, that's fine, whatever. You're not going to shoot 50% from 3 like he was already coming into the year or coming into this game. And look, he's just like, he's giving the Raptors the best shot they've had since Jakob Poeltl arrived in Toronto of surviving and winning without Jakob Poeltl. It's that simple. Again, he's not your traditional size of center, but he does center things. He grabbed 9 rebounds last night. He's a good screener. You see the pick and roll action working with him. The arms go for days. He's defending everyone. I'm just a really, really big fan of what Colin Murray-Boyles is doing. And yeah, there's no drawback here. He is making it so they are not completely destitute at the 5 without Jakob Poeltl, which on its own is like a massive achievement considering where this franchise has been backup center play wise over the last couple of seasons. Orlando Robinson, he is not. Look, it's early. It's probably way too early to be predicting all rookie teams, but Cooper Flagg, VJ Edgecombe, Dylan Harper, Cedric Coward, Colin Murray-Boyles as your all rookie first team. I know Con Knippel's doing some stuff. I know Trey Johnson's taking many shots for the Wizards, but if Murray-Boyles can like contribute to actual winning for a team that's trying to actually win, why not? That's if I'm picking, I'm just going to call it now. Flagg, Coward, Edgecombe, Harper, Murray-Boyles. There's your first team all rookie. It's done, signed, sealed, delivered. You heard it here first. Let's get to the bad, shall we? Could a shooting guard off the bench do anything at all? Like, that would be great. I'd love to see it. Ochai Agbaji cannot make a 3 to save his life right now. Jacoby Walter's just kind of doing cardio when he comes into games. And Grady Dick has had his moments here and there, but has been pretty off from 3, and it's just not quite been effective in most of his appearances. He only played 7 or 8 minutes in the game against the Cavs on Friday. Off the bench, I feel good right now about Shed, Mamu, and Murray-Boyles once Poeltl gets back. Jamison Battle obviously is just like he can come in and set things ablaze at any given time. Feel good about him being in the rotation as the 9th, 10th guy, but It'd be really nice if one of Walter, Dick, or Abaji could just kind of grab the job by the horns and say, I am the backup shooting guard. I am going to fill in lineups where we need a couple of bench guys with the main starter dudes. It would be lovely. And it would just really change the game, right? Like this team, I think, is deep in guys who should be good. Dick, Walter, Abaji, at least one of them, if they pop, the team is 10 guys deep. That's great. None of them have popped yet. And it's, starting to have an effect of like, all right, well, what do you do off the bench now? And how do you fit these lineups all together and all that? Like they all bring theoretical shooting to the table. That's really important. The team has done very well shooting threes so far this year, despite these guys not really hitting. Ochai was like a high, almost 40% three-point shooter last year. Walter was like a 39% guy after his first 10 games of struggle. Grady Dick, we know, takes difficult shots. He takes looks on the move. He has gravity. They're not falling right now for him. They got to happen. Like one of these guys has to do it because like they're all like, it's wide open, right? Like the future of these guys is all to some degree on the line this season, whether it's Ochai being in the last year of his deal or Grady being up for an extension. Jacoby's got some more time to figure it out. It's just a second-year player, but like the opportunity's there and the internal competition is great, but no one is currently winning it. And it's awesome that RJ Barrett's playing as well as he is, because if they didn't, man, the two-guard spot would be pretty destitute right now. But yeah, that's the bad, is just like the triforce of sadness between Dick, Walter, and Ochai fighting for those backup two-guard minutes. It's been rough stuff. And hey, maybe it is just Jamison Battle. He's a big guy. You throw him in there, he shoots threes. Like maybe he ends up like jumping all of them in the rotation. That would be kind of wild. But boy, oh boy, was he awesome that game Friday night, 6 of 6 from deep. And back to the point of I'm going to talk about it. Jamison Battle was awesome. I liked the way they fed him. I liked the way Brandon Ingram was like, yeah, get that dude the ball. He can't miss right now. That was good to see. But you don't want to be relying on Jamison Battle going 6 of 6 every night off the bench for you. One of Dick or Walter or Ochai has got to provide something. We haven't seen much from any of them yet. And to round out the show, are the Toronto Raptors in the driver's seat in their NBA Cup group? They kind of might be. The Cavs, in theory, are the best team. They were depleted. They lose. That's what happens. That's the deal. Whatever. Tough start for them. Maybe they're already out of Cup contention. But the Raptors, they're 1-0 in Cup play. And they play the Hawks, the Pacers, and the Wizards in their final 4 group games. Like, the Hawks, they've already waxed. The Pacers are not good. The Wizards are the Wizards. I'm into it, man. I'm an NBA Cup truther. I've been a proponent of in-season tournaments before. I think the only way we're going to make it matter is if people actually talk about it as though it matters and make it so people care about winning it. And hey, maybe the Raptors having an edge up now, like it just gets a little bit more serious every game now. Like, oh, okay, we're 1-0 in Cup play. Oh, we're 2-0. We can smell that trip to Vegas. Oh, we're 3-0. Wow, let's go. Like, I would love me a knockout basketball game for the Toronto Raptors. That's like the best thing in sports. Best thing in basketball is single elimination ball. And whether it's the in-season tournament or the play-in tournament, whatever, these sort of contrived events throughout the season, I think they're good because they give us the chance for a thing we don't often get in the NBA, which is single elimination game basketball, which is the best form of the sport. That's why we love the March Madness tournament. And the Raptors right now, with their win against the Cavs, got their toughest group game out of the way, got lucky with how the schedule broke. You got to be lucky to be good. They're looking at maybe a run through the Cup, baby. For the first time, they've not been players in the Cup whatsoever in the first couple years. If they they're the exact kind of team, a plucky team trying to win some games. They have some talent. They can run into a little heater here against these teams, the Pacers, Hawks, and Wizards in their next 3 group games, and all of a sudden find themselves in some knockout basketball games with a chance to go to Vegas for the finals. That would be super cool. I'm into it. That's going to do it. Thank you so much for rocking with the show. As always, we'll be back again on Tuesday. Vivek Jacob will be along. Maybe we'll play a stupid little game as we often do. We will also get you sheet up for Raptors Bucks 2.0 on Tuesday night. We'll talk about that Wednesday. Katie Heindel will be along this week. Lots of good stuff. And Oren Weisfeld, who wrote The Golden Generation, a lovely book about Canada basketball and the growth over the last 20 years, 25 years, is going to be on the show Friday to plug the book. So looking forward to that as well with our pal Oren. So, big week ahead. As usual, season's rolling. The Blue Jays are now not playing anymore, and the Leafs are kind of butt. And so maybe the Raptors can be the team of the moment for the next little while here if they can build on these wins over the weekend. Wouldn't that be swell? We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Again, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Rate, review. Join the Discord. Link in the description of the podcast. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday. with another episode of Locked On Raptors. Thanks for hanging. Bye-bye. Ooh, the bank's open on a Monday.